Hello, everybody. It's Steph Norbury here from the Amusement Network. And today I'm joined by Quent Stott, who you'll all know, MD of Reflex Gaming. Hello, Quent. How are you?
Hi, Steph. Very well. Nice to see you. How are you?
Good, good. And thank you very much for joining me today. We've got a few things to discuss because it's an interesting time. And first of all, having seen you recently at ACOS, I'd love to go over some of the new product development that's going on with Reflex.
Okay, well, at ACOS, you will have seen there the new Game Master 2 cabinet that we have for the pub retail sector. And that houses our Evo menu, which is a selection of our best performing games, and we regularly download new content to that. So that's a recent development that's deployed and out in the market. We're also working on a new, very premium cabinet called Cyclone, which will be showcasing at EAG. Cyclone's a full metal cabinet, large 32-inch monitors, a different presentation to how we approach the sort of game offer, how we hang it out in the shop window, if you like. And all our products are connected to our Slingshot back office system. So as we're developing all this new content and releasing it to the marketplace, we're also able to get telemetrics, get comparisons of game performance, measure our new game release performance versus existing content. And the whole idea is really we sort of evolve and develop and slowly grow the engagement with the player and the range of products that we offer to them, or the range of games that we offer to them. So that's really the pub retail market. We're also working on a menu called Fusion. This is for AGC and Bingo, where we're taking Cat C community, B4 games, and Cat C standalone games, if you like, not community games, and putting that together in our Game Pro cabinet. And we are in the very early stages of walking that out to some large customers at the moment on sort of trial. So that's where we're heading. That also leads on to where we might be next year with the increase in B3 or B category B machines that are allowed into AGCs. So yeah, always busy, always working on the next new thing, I guess.
Yes, absolutely. I believe that the last product that you mentioned, that was at ACOS as well, wasn't it? In some form.
The Fusion.
The blend of products, the community products that you were showing for.
Yeah, the community was there. Cat C community blended in with standard Cat C products was there. Yeah. But we've moved on from that for a category B offer, which is B4 products that we're putting together with that Cat C community and Cat C standalone content. So it's really aiming at a different sector of the AGC or Bingo hall. The product you saw was absolutely at the Cat C £100 jackpot level. The other one has all that, but additionally complemented with some B4 content.
Fantastic. So the Slingshot sounds amazing, and the amount of data that you must be getting from that. It's a completely different way of designing games from how you started out, I imagine, Quent.
Well, right back in the day when we had standalone analog machines with, waiting for collectors to go and tell you how the machine performed, which was often, quite a way after you were really desperate for the information to know how your machine's performing. Yeah, there's so much data now. Actually, there's too much data. Someone like myself uses it at a very high level. I'm just looking at overall performance, new games, how that might have moved the needle, and also new products. As soon as we get a new product out, every day we're dialing in just to see what VTP's been like, what games they're playing, how the cash box is looking. And that just keeps us well informed, and especially if you get, telephone engagement with the customer. Often you know more than they do at that moment in time about how the product's doing, because they're running AGCs or a pub operation, and they're looking at all sorts of different things day by day. We're just really drilling down to the bit that we add to their overall offer.
Yeah, and of course you've also developed games for the online side. And had some close collaborations there, and that must also have taught you quite a lot about different player needs.
Yeah, the online section for me, I'm a bit of a dinosaur, Steph. I'm in, physical machines and now downloading content to those physical machines. But yeah, Matt Ingram and his game producers have done a really good job over the last sort of 2 or 3 years of lifting where we were in delivering online game content. I mean, I would have thought that being a UK focused manufacturer, taking our games online would nearly be enough, but of course it's not. They have their own nuances. There's so many people throwing games at the online sector, but what you do learn is there are a bunch of mechanics or features that engage with players, integrate them into our themes, add our flavor to that development process. And certainly we are now getting meaningful income from our online games, and it's been a long old push, but
Mm.
it's a big market. Obviously it's an international market, but we have our share, and we're learning so much, and a lot of that learning is now being refocused into the land-based sector. I mean, you have lots of providers, or many providers in the UK that do land-based content and online content. But I think we're now really just starting to enjoy the benefits of what we're learning online and redeploying that back to the land-based sector.
Yeah, no, that's fascinating. I've seen that it seems as though the UK goes through phases of styles of game that are popular, say fishing style games or Irish style games or whatever. And yet you talk about a flavour there to different suppliers. How important is it to have this choice in the UK market now, as the number of manufacturers of games has diminished?
I think it's vitally important. I mean, if you talk about a single site environment to start with, back in the day, you'd go into a pub, you'd have a Barcrest machine, a Bell Fruit machine, a JPM or an Ace or a BWB, or there would be a number of different manufacturers, and they were known for different things. JPM was a harder style of game, Barcrest maybe more feature based and a flatter profile. But the players would be able to walk from machine to machine. Now you've got a compendium of content, but you've got generally the same people sat behind those organizations driving that content. So they'll add a flavor to it. They'll have their views about how things should look, feel. You talk about themes. You can have an Irish theme, but how do you present that theme? What features and mechanics do you hang that theme with? Getting back down to the player choice, I think always, and what we're seeing operationally now, is where you have one brand that is in a site, that will often increase in takings when you add at least one other brand in. And I think that just shows that the players are inquisitive. They do want to know. They do want to engage with content. So yeah, I think it's vitally important that we're not just a one-trick pony with one or two companies providing all the content to the UK marketplace. I think that would be a bad place for us to get to.
You're expanding now into different categories of machine, as you mentioned before, Quent. We've got the legislation in the pipeline now. We're talking about 50/50 rules and what it might look like. What are your thoughts on the legislation and where it might take us?
Yeah, definitely a step in the right direction. To have a constrained offer in an AGC or bingo hall, as it is at the moment, when we're absolutely at the soft end of the spectrum, the gambling spectrum. We all know that there are gambling harms out there. We're all tuned into that. There's lots of social responsibility measures now that we are a lot better at delivering to our customers. So I think, yeah, a 50/50 with category B and category C, for example, will be a lot better for the player. And I think that in terms of what that does in terms of risk, I think it's nearly non-existent. I mean, I don't want to downplay it too
No.
much, but we're such a different business now on the high street than we were, 10, 15 years ago. So I think we've got all the tools that we need to ensure that 50/50
Yeah.
will be a good outcome and a good experience for the player.
I agree. And I know that BACTA have been concerned that they're going to sort of water it down a little bit with like for like, tablet for tablet, machine for machine. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it just makes it complicated, difficult to police. I can see what they're getting at. The tablets and the infills have been a bit of a bone of contention for them. 50-50 should be 50-50. Easy to police, easy to understand, easy to implement. Yeah, I don't think we need any more complications than we already have in life.
No, I totally agree. You mentioned player protection, and age verification is certainly a large part of that. I thought that the age verification feature that you showed at ACOS was one of the most logical and exciting things I've seen for a long time. What was the reaction from everybody else that saw it?
Yeah, the reaction has been very good. I mean, it was quite a seamless presentation, as you saw at ACOS. Yes, ACOS. But we've been on this journey since 2019. Reflex were at EAG and ICE in 2019 before lockdown with AV tools on the machines. They
Yes.
were they weren't overly effective. They were so influenced by environment, light, and it's been a change of technology partner. We're now working with innovative technology, change of hardware, some reconfiguration on our side, lots of testing. But now we do have something that, is as good as we've had it, certainly, and it seems to work very well when we're demonstrating it. We've got it out on site trial now, and there are some mixed results, mainly to do with player interface. People putting a coin in, asked if they're over 18, yes, goes for age verification. They're either moving about or they cancel the thing and they go through it all again. So I think one of the problems we've got here is how we sell this to the player,
Mm.
because the early feedback we've got is people are suddenly seeing cameras being turned on and thinking they're being recorded and filmed and all the rest of it. And whether you've got anything to hide or not, I don't think people like generally being, thought of as being filmed, especially if they're doing something which is traditionally a solitary and, personal
Yeah.
experience. You go to a machine, you play it, you might have your £5, £10, £20, whatever. Why would you want to think that anything's really changed between your relationship with fruit machine play now and prior, when there was no AV solution? So I think we've got to get that message over to the player, and we're working on some messaging now to get onto machines to help that along.
Yeah.
And the next stage really is to get it out into more volume.
Mm.
And hopefully it's going to help the pub retailers, especially, to make sure that they can really be seen to have robust tools in place to stop minors playing. And it's
Mm.
very difficult, especially if someone just walks straight in to prove the point that if you walk through the front door, get straight to a machine, drop a pound in, and the pub's deemed to have failed, it seems remarkably unfair, unless you're going to have a pack of guard dogs between the machine and the front door.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's an impossible situation for pubs, really, to police a situation like that.
Yeah, it's certainly
Um,
very. I think technology is really the only route we've got to get over
mm,
this.
yeah, I quite agree. What about the cashless situation? I mean, that's another big ask for low stakes machines from Bacta and the industry. What's your feeling on that?
Yeah, well, listen, we know we need alternative payment methods to be restrained to cash only in 2023, being the last industry that needs to do that. It seems crazy. I understand the Commission and DCMS's thoughts and concerns on social responsibility, so we need to make sure we can mitigate those and manage them properly, which I think we can as an industry. So yeah, alternative payment methods are definitely part of the future. I mean, we've seen it. I was involved with GPT, as many people will know,
Mm,
and I was very keen that we had a solution. As at the time, I hoped that we had a single solution that would make it very easy for manufacturers to adopt and retailers to trial and players to get to know one particular flavor of app, if you like. It's not the
yes.
way it found out, and life's never a straight line, is it? So, but it works. It has social responsibility measures built into these current apps. The adoption rate is probably a little bit behind where we expected, and it's strange because I would have thought that would have been a very easy thing to adopt for tech savvy players. I mean, even somebody my age now using apps to pay for parking and various other things.
Yeah.
We're not adverse to doing it. It's a normal part of transacting with machinery, if you like.
Yes, yes. It's I suppose maybe we're reaching a little bit of app fatigue with these things, you know, with there's an app for this, an app for that, perhaps. And
Yeah.
having
Well,
one is the main objective there, I suppose.
yeah, well, I think the industry, certain parts of the industry certainly are saying that, a debit card straight onto machine is the route forward. I
Mm,
get that logic, but if you're going out, you generally have your phone and your card, I would say. And if you've got one thing, you've probably got your phone,
yes,
but with a card only, it's about making sure we can demonstrate properly all the social responsibility measures, and, keep players safe and in control of the spend.
yeah, no, absolutely. So for the machine of the future, then, I mean, looking back with both of our careers where we started with analog machines and literal spinning reels to where we are now, and we're certainly on the cusp, I think, of cashless, and now we've got age verification. Where do you think that this logically could take us in the future?
Well, I think as soon as you can demonstrate that social responsibility is inbuilt to products, age verification is inbuilt to products, spend announcements, how much you've spent, how much you've lost, spend tracking is there for the player. I think it's very difficult then for the government to argue that we can't lift things like stakes and prizes. We have been eroded by inflation. I can't remember the last time, certainly over 10 years ago, where we had a stake and prize review, and we always seem to get put to the back of the queue when we're asking for anything to move us forward. But I think the machine of the future will be able to help demonstrate why we should have certain things that we're requesting going forwards. For me, one of the big things is technical standards. We
Mm,
have very prescriptive technical standards. Online has, do what you want really with certain bounds. They have persistence in games. They have link jackpots. They have all sorts of things that create stickiness.
mm,
Even if stakes are ultimately reducing online, their technical standards are more liberal, and I think that's just unfair. I think we should be seen through the same lens, and the more we're able to see how our machines are performing, how we're protecting players, how we're mitigating minors from playing, I think the more we've got a power to our elbow to ask for other stuff that we, I think, deserve.
absolutely. That's a great point to stop, I think. Thank you, Quent, so much for taking us through all of that. And we look forward to seeing everything on your stand at EAG then.
Thanks for your time. Look forward to seeing you at EAG too. Always a pleasure.